Well, hello everybody. My name is Neil O'Brien, otherwise known as the Profit Doctor, and in this short recording I'm going to take you through the single most important strategy you can ever apply in your business, and that is the 80-20 principle. This alone can take your profits onto a completely different level. I've worked with loads and loads of different businesses, and it's amazing the impact this can have on your business. So 80-20. So what I'm going to cover is how to grow your profits substantially with the same level of sales. A lot of people will come into your business and talk about growing your sales. I don't. Initially, I'm totally focused on growing the profits that you get from your existing customers and your existing products. So 80-20, it's a natural occurring law. What it says is that 80% of our results come from 20% of the effort. And in business, what this means is that 80% of our profits come from 20% of our customers. Now, this is a naturally occurring law. There's been hundreds and hundreds of studies conducted on 80-20, and the one up here is GDP distribution per capita. It applies to the wealth of individuals, the wealth of countries, population distributions, traffic. 20% of the roads get 80% of the traffic, the wear and tear on your carpet, the clothes we wear. It's a naturally occurring law. It applies everywhere, and that includes in your business. So there's Norm from Cheers. They've even found out that it applies to beer drinkers. So 20% of beer drinkers drink 80% of the beer. Clothes in our wardrobe. We all have favorite items of clothing, and then a lot of stuff never gets worn. So 80-20 applies to our clothes as well. Now, I'm going to tell you briefly about two companies I'm working with at the moment. Now, company A, I've just started working with recently. Now, they've set a target. They want to grow their sales by 20% in 2015, this year. Now, the current net profit is about 100. So that will increase to 120. Now, they're just rough numbers I've picked out. So if their sales grow by 20%, their net profit should also grow by about 20%, everything else being equal. That's the company I've just started working with. That's without 80-20. Now, company B I've been working with for about 3 months. Now, without any increase in their sales this year, okay, their current net profit is 100. Now, with 80-20 analysis, that will increase to 193 this year. So that's almost doubling their net profit with the same level of sales. And I see this over and over again. And there is nothing else in business that can have this kind of impact. 80-20 analysis and the actions that come out of this can just transform your profits. It really is, it's extraordinary what can happen with 80-20. So scalpel, the Profit Doctor, what I do is I take a scalpel to your numbers. So I want to take a copy of your profit and loss, your sales analysis by customer, by product. I want to look at your sales process and your marketing, and I'm going to drill down into those numbers. Now, what comes out of that, I take all the numbers and I put it into, I have 17 templates I use. I put it into those, and out of that will come a report that's got all the different ideas and ways I see to grow your sales. Now, there's no doubt about it, 80-20 is the most powerful thing you can ever apply in your business. It is absolutely amazing what I've seen over the years, what 80-20 can do to the profits, not just the sales, the profits of a business. Much, much more important. So, yeah buts. A yeah but is, you may be there thinking, yeah, that's fine, but my business is different, or this won't apply to my business. A yeah but. Please keep an open mind on this, because I get asked this question all the time. Does 80-20 apply to my business? Now, my response is yes, unless you've proved otherwise. Unless you've gone away and worked out the numbers and found out it doesn't apply to your business, assume it does. Now, I follow this up with slightly tongue-in-cheek. I say to them, does gravity apply to you? And they go, well, yes. Well, I say, well, 80-20 is a naturally occurring law. So if gravity applies to you, 80-20 will also apply to you. So step one, my analysis, I take a profit and loss. It can be for a 12-month period, 6 months, even sometimes down to a month, and I will analyze it down. I'll break it down until I get a net profit or net loss by customer or product. It can be either or. It's normally by customer. The trend is very similar whether you do this by customer or by product. So you'll end up with a net profit or net loss by customer. Now, what you'll find then is you get whales and sardines. There's 4 categories. The first one is very profitable customers, which is normally a small number of them, which I often refer to as whales. The B's and C's are small profit and break even, and the D's are loss makers. They're losing you money. We call those sardines. There's lots of them. You want more whales and less sardines. You know, when I'm working with clients, they often like these terms. Everybody can relate to a whale and a sardine. So now this is what a graph would look like typically. This is a business that has 10 customers. Now you can see on the left hand side, 1 and 2 are very profitable. So this is the 80-20 rule. 2 out of 10 customers are very profitable. The next 2 are given a small profit. The next 2 are break even. And then on the right hand side, there's 4 customers who are all below the line. That means they're all losing money. Now, this is a graph after 80-20. Now what you can see on the left hand side, if you look at 1 and 2, they've actually increased because we've sold more to our most profitable customers. 3 and 4 have come up to the level of the previous 1 and 2, which means we've attracted, our marketing has found some new whales. Now you'll notice on the right hand side that those products that were below the line have disappeared. I'll just flick back there a moment. So those ones which were below the line when we started 80-20 losing money have disappeared. And that's what 80-20 is about in a nutshell. It's about changing the mix of customers. The natural mix is a bit like this at the start. I've seen this so many times. You will typically have a smallish number of very profitable customers, and the largest number of customers falls into the loss maker category. What you want to do is change that mix, have more A's and less D's. Okay, now this is another way of looking at it. Again, a very interesting way of looking at it. It's a quadrant. So again, the A, B, C, D, and the top left is the most profitable customers. Now this is somebody I worked with recently, and they had 19 clients or 19 customers. So you can see the most profitable ones, there's 3 of those were very profitable. The next section, small profits, were 2. The break-evens were 3, and we had 11 loss makers. So out of 19 customers, 11 of them were losing money. Now that was a real shock to the owner when I presented the numbers first. Now this next slide is taking the same information and putting in the net profit and net loss by customer. Now this business had a net profit of 100,000 for the year. Now if you look at this, the most profitable customers gave 131,000. The B's gave 16,000. The C's were break even, so there was nothing. Now the loss makers were 47,000. Those 11 customers were losing money, were losing 47,000. Now this is kind of, again, I see this all the time. If you think about this business, if you add up those figures, 131 and 16 is 147 minus the loss is a net profit of 100,000. The A's are actually giving 131% of your total profit because they're actually subsidizing the D's. So this is often the case that the A's are far more profitable than the overall business. So they're subsidizing it. So what we want to do is get rid of those D's in the corner and grow the A's and the B's. Okay, so you've done your analysis. There's 6 main ways you can grow your profits, and I've touched on some of these already. The first thing I normally do is we want to sell more to our most profitable customers, our whales. Now when we're doing our marketing, we want to focus our marketing on getting more of the whales, the really profitable customers. The third thing we can do is we can work in partnership with our most profitable customers and develop new products and services for them. Now the sardines, getting rid of the loss makers is where it gets really interesting, and can certainly meet resistance of business owners. These people are losing their money. Quite often what we do is we increase the prices to and a lot of them will move on, or at least they'll move up into the C, the break-even category. The fifth thing is to mind the whales. Very important to mind your most profitable customers. Make sure they're happy, that there's no issues going on, that it would be disastrous if these people left the business. They're given so much profit. And increasing selling prices is something that happens with almost every single business I work with, is increase the selling prices. It can be on the sardines to move them up. It can be on some of the other categories as well. So now again, but quite often people are skeptical about 80-20 because, you know, a solicitor said to me recently, you know, but I have a standard charge out rate per hour and per day, and most businesses have. But if you think about it, all the businesses I've worked with would also have had a charge out rate. So people struggle to see how this can apply to their business when they've got a standard, but part of the problem is that standard rate isn't it needs to be tweaked, because it certainly doesn't cover the smaller jobs. You could see in the last example they had a standard charge out rate as well, and 11 of their 19 customers were losing them money. So obviously there's a problem there somewhere with that method. Now, Just to follow on from that, there's a minimum cost of doing business with anyone. Once you take on a customer or a client, there is a minimum cost of doing business with them. And from my experience, the pricing methods may be okay for the bigger clients or the medium-sized ones, but they certainly don't cover the smaller clients, and that's why a lot of them lose money. So just to summarize the whole thing, my name is Neil O'Brien, aka the Profit Doctor. My whole focus is on growing your net profits. Even if the sales stay the same, I will grow your net profits for you. 80-20 is very, very powerful. It's a naturally occurring law. So does it apply to your business? Yes, most probably it does. So what I do is I take a scalpel to your numbers. I take the information, feed it into my templates. That gives me a report, which is 6 main ways to grow your profits. And then I can work with you to implement those different ideas. Now, the example I gave earlier on was very interesting. The company that was just focusing on growing their sales by 20%, if they don't do 80-20, their profits will grow by 20%. Now, company B, who had the same level of sales, and I'm going to apply 80-20 with them, I'd expect them to see an increase in their profits of 93% this year. That's almost doubling their profits in 1 year, which is hugely significant. I mean, that's an extraordinary impact to have on any business. So, my name is Neil O'Brien. There's just some of my details if you want more information. Quantum.ie is my website. Neil@quantum.ie is my email address, and there's my contact number 086 3644 668. Thanks very much for listening.